Good morning, dear Sangha. Today is December the 10th in the year 2006, and we are in the Lower Hamlet during our winter retreat. Still very warm in December, and the grass is still very green. And every day I do walking meditation from my hut in the upper hamlet to the temple at the foot of the hill. And there's still fresh fallen leaves on the grass. Stepping on the grass and fresh falling leaves. I remember that I imagine that if you walk on the moon, you will not see any blade of grass. You cannot see any leaf. So it's a real pleasure to still be there and enjoying every step you make on this planet. And I go to the temple at the foot of the mountain through the pines. There were about 9,000 pine trees separating the two temples. It's very nice walking down there, enjoying every step. The pine trees are still very young. And Uttam and Yannick have taken the time to clean, to cut the grass. So it's very nice. I hope the Sangha will have the time to enjoy the pine groves between the upper hamlet and the Sangha temple. When I was a novice monk, practicing at the Thay root temple, I did not know the practice of walking meditation. In front of the temple there is a hill with many pine trees. I used to go there and gather the wood or rake for the pine leaves to use as a fuel to cook lunch for the Sangha. But I did not know how to enjoy every step on that hill. We call that hill the Dương Xuân Hill, Spring Hill. And in the new hamlet, we have a hill behind the temple. And we baptize it Dương Xuân Hill also, the Spring Hill. Some of you may have not climbed on that hill, but it's also very beautiful. When I was a young Dharma teacher, there's so many interesting things to do, to study. So, did not find the time to enjoy walking either. There's so many things that were considered to be very important for the Dharma, for the Buddha. So I got lost in these kind of activities. Now you may be going through that kind of period, but it's a pity if you cannot stop and enjoy every step you make. About 2 years ago, I was able to go home to the country with several monastics and lay friends, and we had a retreat for monastics in the Tư Hiếu Temple. All the monks in the retreat I did not see them before I left the country. They were born during my absence. 900 of them, monastics, practicing for 5 days, doing sitting together, walking together. And when I took them to the Dương Xuân Hill, the spring hill for walk invitation, it's so wonderful. Every step I made was deeply mindful. Not less than 100% concentrated and mindful. Because I've been away from the country for many years and from time to time dreaming of going home. So I was very aware that this is it. That this is what you want. So every step was very deep, very mindful, very solid, very happy, very nourishing, very healing. And what is important is that I noticed that there is no need to make any effort. You don't strive, you don't make any effort, and the practice is perfect. Because you like it so much. You enjoy it so much. It's so fulfilling. A step like that, a step made like that. Only you can produce. No one can give it to you. No matter how rich you are, you cannot buy such a step. And that step is made of mindfulness, concentration. It is made also of your past suffering, longing, missing, and so on. And it is the fruit of your practice. It's a great happiness to be sitting on the hill with 900 monks and nuns. And there was no generation gap. Because when I look at them, I see their teachers who have passed away. Some of them still have their teacher, but of my generation who attended the Buddhist Institute, everyone is gone except one. Thầy Chân Trí at the Phước Điền Temple. One day I just left the temple and go and see him. It was a surprise visit. He is the only monk of my generation left in the ancient capital. And a few days later he came to visit me at the temple, spending the whole day, and met all the monastics in the retreat. And it is the first time he saw such a retreat. So joyful, so young, so happy. Communication was not difficult at all. The theme of the retreat is building brotherhood, sisterhood. And because all of us have suffered because of the division within the community, and that is why that was a very happy reunion. The sangha was divided, and they was not able to come together and recite precepts together during 12 years. And thanks to the support of the patriarch, just 5 days after my arrival in the ancient capital, I was able to call them together, and we recited the precept together for the first time after 12 years. So happiness could not be described. So during the retreat, I mentioned a very famous saying of Uncle Ho. President Ho Chi Minh said that nothing is as precious, nothing is more precious than independence and freedom. He spoke as a patriot fighting for the independence of the country, the freedom of the country. And after having quoted his saying, I said, for me, I think that nothing is more precious than brotherhood. If you don't have brotherhood, it's very difficult for you to have independence and freedom. You are divided. You cannot come together. You cannot do anything meaningful. And every minute of sitting on the hill with the 900 young monks and nuns, I savored the happiness, the joy. I was mindful of every pine needle, every pine cone, every pebble. And it's really true that everything you are looking for is there. This is it. You know that in Hue, now there are two communities practicing exactly like in Plum Village, the root temple for monks and the Diệu Nghiêm temple for nuns. And each Sunday they come together and have a day of mindfulness attended by several hundred lay friends, exactly like Plum Village. We have introduced a few new elements into the practice. The first element is we are using Vietnamese in our studies and chanting, and no longer use classical Chinese. And Hue is a very conservative city, and not everyone is happy with that. When you recite it in classical Chinese, it sounds small, sacred. But when you recite, you study and you chant in Vietnamese, you understand completely what you are chanting. The second element is we practice together as a fourfold sangha. In the old time, it is the monks, the nuns who practice. The lay people just support the practice. And they practice separately, even if they recite the 5 precepts and so on. But in the Tu Hiếu temple, in the Diệu Nghiêm temple, we are now practicing reciting the precepts together, sitting together, walking together. There is fourfold sangha practice. And not everyone agree with that. There is always a conservative wing everywhere, in any community. And the third element we have introduced into the practice is gender equality, which is very difficult to be accepted. And that shocked many people, as Hue is a very conservative city. So we need about 50 years in order to convince people that our way is the way of the future. We have enough patience and love, understanding in order to do so. It has been reported that the Day of Mindfulness has been very well attended, and many young people, many intellectual people come to participate. And in one letter, a friend of the Sangha wrote that you need only to come once to the Day of Mindfulness in order to feel that kind of energy of brotherhood, of sisterhood, of joy, of peace. So the practice seems to be good enough, and we can rely on our brothers and sisters in Hue who are encountering some difficulties, but who have our support. In a letter I recently wrote to them, I said, well, it's pure joy, pure happiness to be walking on the Yung Sun Hill. So please do that for me. Many of them have participated in the monastic retreat 2 years ago. So they remember that happiness is possible in the here and the now. And if they put all their attention into the practice, they can obtain the joy, the happiness. They don't need to become a Dharma teacher or a member in order to be happy. mindfulness is a mental formation, one of the 51 mental formations. And when we allow the energy of mindfulness to manifest, we'll be inhabited by the energy of mindfulness. And when we are inhabited by the energy of mindfulness, our eyes become the Buddha's eyes. Our feet becomes the Buddha's feet. And we can look like a Buddha. We can walk like a Buddha. We can enjoy the beauties of nature. Like a Buddha. We can enjoy every step. We can enjoy every sound. And we know how to generate the energy of mindfulness. Because the seed of mindfulness is there, you know. You need only to touch it in order for it to become energy. Every day we need to walk, to move from one place to another, from our room to the meditation hall, from the meditation hall to the bathroom, from the bathroom to the dining hall. And we can practice walking like a Buddha, walking like a free person, and enjoy every step we make. And walking like a Buddha is something possible, right in the here and the now, right today. If you want to do that, and then you can do that. You don't need to study more Buddhism. You don't need to practice 10 more years of sitting meditation. No. You don't need to be ordained as a novice, as a bhikshu. You don't need land transmission. Walking like Buddha, you can just do it now. And you don't need to make any effort either. If you like it so much, and why do you have to make effort? I imagine a teacher who see his disciple not walking in mindfulness, walking like being chased by a ghost. Imagine that teacher shout at his disciple, "Why are you running like a ghost?" Something like that could not help. Of course, when you see your disciple walking mindfully, you are very happy. But when you see your disciple walking like a hungry ghost, you are not so happy. You silently wish that he or she will like the walking. Because you cannot force him or force her to walk mindfully. Asking him or her the effort to be mindful. To be mindful is a pleasure. You don't have to force yourself. To enjoy walking, if you like it very much, and then you can do it right now. You cannot say, I cannot do mindful walking. You can say, I don't want to do walking meditation. Yes. But if you say, I cannot do walking meditation, I don't believe you. You can. But because you don't have enough desire to do it. So you think that you need to make effort to do it. But I don't believe in effort. I believe in desire, inspiration. So shouting at your disciple won't help. The best way is for the teacher to walk properly, to enjoy every step, and that will inspire his disciple. And if you are a teacher, you understand me. When you love, you want to give a lot. You give everything. But to take it or not to take it is not in your power. It is in the power of the other person. There is a Vietnamese poet who said, who said something about love. He said, when you leave, when you give a lot. But when she receives, she does not receive, she receives not much. Cho rất nhiều, nhưng nhận chẳng bao nhiêu. And you cannot force her to receive. But what you offer may be very valuable, according to you. But he or she does not see it as valuable enough. So you have to wait. And to be patient is a mark of true love. And when the quality of practice of the sangha is good, that disciple will have a better chance. So you practice with your sangha. You do it well, with all your heart. And that is the only way to help that person to realize that she is wasting her time. She does not know how to profit from the practice, from the teaching, from the sangha. Walking meditation is not a practice. It is an enjoyment. You don't practice for the sake of the future. If someone asks you, why do you do walking meditation? The best answer is, because I like it. Because during the time you do walking meditation, you feel happy. Why do you do sitting meditation? Because I like it. That's a very simple answer. So if you make effort to do sitting meditation, if you make effort to do walking meditation, so it will become hard labor and not enjoyment. If you really desire to do it, if you really enjoy to do it, then you don't need your teacher to shout at you. You don't need shining light. You don't need even encouragement. Because you are happy with it. You are nourishing yourself, you are nourishing your parents, your ancestors, you are nourishing your sangha. It's no longer a duty. It is an act of love. Walking meditation is an act of love. And when you love, you don't have to make any effort. Sitting is an act of love. The world is like that. People are like that. And you are like that. So sitting is good for you. Good for the world. Good for the people. And that is an act of love. My mother, she never ate bread with butter and marmalade in her life. She was an excellent cook. And I still remember the dishes that I like that kind of soup made with bamboo shoots, and a kind of fish that is caught in the brook. Băng giang, nấu cá ngạnh nguồn. And so on. And my big sister learned quite a lot from her, as far as cooking is concerned. I did not make any effort to learn, but from time to time I run into the kitchen and I saw my mother and my sister cooking, and later on I knew how to make a dish, how to fry rice and so on. I make fried rice. When you eat your lunch, try to eat with the mouth of your mother. My mother never ate muesli. Quaker oat. And I'm eating that for her, with her mouth. And sometimes I eat for my father. My father and my mother, they ate vegetarian twice a month. But I became a full vegetarian at the age of 16, even before that. So I like to eat with the mouth of my father to know how he feels with the kind of food in Plum Village. I like to eat with the mouth of my mother to see how she reacts to the kind of food that is offered to us in Plum Village. And lunch is for me is very interesting time. It is a time for practice. I get in touch not only with the sangha sitting around me, but I get also in touch with the food, and I get in touch with my ancestors, my father, my mother. I eat for them. I become aware that I eat for them. We have begun the act of eating very early. When we were a monocellular living being, we already know how to look for food and to eat. And as a tiny insect, as a tiny animals, we continue to eat. Millions of years, munching, all the time. And we have been eating each other a lot in our history. And not only the animals eat the plant, but the plants sometimes they eat the animals. The insects. In order to survive, we have to eat, and we have been eating each other. So time, dinner time, lunch time, is an opportunity for us to know who we are, what we are doing there. If you get in touch with the food really, you know what you are eating and how you are eating. Because the Buddha gave us instructions about eating, very specific, very clear, very detailed instructions about eating. We eat in such a way that can nourish our compassion, that can help us relate to other living beings. We eat in such a way that communication will still be possible between us and other living beings. Just look at the piece of carrot, and you see the non-carrot elements in it. By eating mindfully and deeply, we can discover the nature of reality, of life. We can get in touch with suffering and joy. Eating is a very deep practice. I have asked the brothers in the upper hamlet to extend the time of eating to 5 more minutes. I wanted to ask for 10, but I want to go slowly. Many of the brothers and sisters have not profited fully from the teaching on eating. They still eat very fast. They want to finish with it quickly so that they can go to their room and rest. But eating is such a deep practice. We should allow ourselves enough time to be with each other. We should eat slowly. We should bring our attention to the food, to see that what we are eating, where does it come from? Are we eating in such a way that make a future possible? Are we eating in such a way that nourish our compassion, that allow us to be still in communication with other living beings? We are eating in such a way that allowed our Father to be with us in this moment. And eating like that can help you touch the nature of no self, to get enlightenment. Don't think that you only get enlightenment by sitting meditation. Well, you can get enlightenment by just eating. Eating your ice cream can help you get enlightenment also. We should make the eating time a relaxing time, where we have plenty of time to be together as a family, as a sangha. It's very important to be aware of each other's presence. We should allow ourselves more time for eating. It's good for everything, not only for our digestion, but for sisterhood, for our brotherhood, for our looking deeply, for our touching nirvana, touching the ultimate reality. Don't think that eating is only to get the energy, the nutrition. It's not that. In this tradition, eating is a deep practice. If you have the impression that sitting meditation is the highest kind of practice, you are wrong. In Plum Village, we learn that during lunch, breakfast, we should bring our attention to, firstly, the food, and then, secondly, the sangha. Should be in touch with the here and the now. And when you look at the food, deeply, you see a lot. You see the non-food element. The 5 contemplation is just a guidance. You have to do deeper than that. And eating is a pleasant session of practice. You can make it longer, because brotherhood, sisterhood is possible. Offering your presence, your freshness, your love, your concern is possible during eating time. You feel like one body, the sangha body. Why do you have to hurry like that? So to enjoy the food, to enjoy the sangha, and to enjoy touching the food and the sangha in depth, make lunch a successful session of practice. Make breakfast into a successful session of practice. Even when you wash your bowl, that is practice. That can be deep practice. Mindfulness is a holy energy. It is like the Holy Spirit. And if you maintain mindfulness alive, you are alive. You are holy. You can be called your holiness. You don't need to become a pope in order to be holy. You need to be mindful in your breathing and walking, and you are already holy. And you can continue the Buddha. And when you walk mindfully, the place where you walk will become sacred. Everywhere he went, the Buddha made that place sacred. And we are the continuation of the Buddhas. We are now all over the world, in the 5 continents. And we should walk in such a way that make the whole planet a sacred place. Shakyamuni has chosen this planet Earth as his Buddha field. And we, his descendants, we want to retain this planet as our Buddha field. And first of all, we should know how to walk in order to make this land, this planet, a sacred, beautiful spot in the cosmos. It's possible for you to continue the Buddha, to bring his light and happiness and peace to the future and to many continents. And that is what we can do today. That's not ambition, that's just ordinary life. we are giving facilities, we are given opportunities to walk, to sit, to eat our lunch. Let us profit fully from the favorable conditions that are available. In the upper hamlet, the brothers always end their sitting meditation with touching the earth. In the upper hamlet, we have done many chapters of the book, Touching the Earth. And every time, we only touch the earth once, with one paragraph. It's very good, because it reminds us of the practice. This is an intimate conversation with the Buddha. And we promise with the Buddha that we will continue him. We will continue his practice, his presence. And we need a brother or a sister who can transmit the energy, the spirit, the feeling of the text. Mindfulness is a kind of energy that has the power to recognize what is going on. You are walking, suddenly you become mindful of your steps. What happens? When the torch of mindfulness is lit, the situation changes completely. You are no longer walking like a sleepwalker. You are walking like a Buddha now. You are walking with the same feet, and yet it's so different. Your feet has become the Buddha's feet. Suddenly, the feet of the Buddha become available. That is a miracle. And think of the many miracles that we can perform every day with mindfulness. You are about to eat an apple. Suddenly you become mindful. And the apple in your hand appears to you like a miracle. With mindfulness, the apple is something not less than a miracle. You know that the sun, the cloud, the earth, everything in the cosmos have come together, working together for 6 months, 7 months, in order to bring about that wonderful apple. And mindfulness allows us to see the miracle, the apple, as a miracle. And there's so many miracles of nature, of life like that, around us and inside of us. Mindfulness is like the light, allowing us to see things before that we go in the dark. And we know that mindfulness is possible because every one of us has the seed of mindfulness inside. And touching it with our breathing, our walking, we can generate the energy of mindfulness. We can chew the piece of carrot with mindfulness. And it changes completely the situation. Light. In the Gospel, it is said that if you have the light, display it. Don't cover it. Because the light benefits so many people. And you are the one who can emit light. Chúng ta có thể phóng hào quang được. You don't need to be called a Buddha in order to emit light. You can emit light with every step, with every breath, with every gesture. You can perform miracles right now, right today. Don't underestimate yourself. Don't say that I'm nothing, I'm just suffering and despair. That is not true, and you know it. As mental formations are concerned, once they are illuminated by mindfulness, they become different. Mindfulness is supposed to be the agent of recognition. When you are mindful of something, you recognize that something as being there. So, agent of recognition. I speak about simple, mere recognition. La reconnaissance simple et pure de tout ce qui se passe. Nhân diện đơn thuần. What do you mean by mere recognition, simple recognition? You just recognize it. You don't try to grasp it, or you don't try to push it away. Don't allow the like and dislike intervene into the act of recognizing. Even so, even if you don't want to interfere with what is there, but mindfulness naturally changes the situation. Exactly when while walking, you suddenly become aware of your steps. The change is total. Walking in forgetfulness, suddenly you walk in mindfulness. The transformation, the change is total. Walking in the dark, suddenly you are flooded with light. And mindfulness is the light that shows us what is going on. Suppose you are about to step on an autumn leaf, unmindfully, in forgetfulness. And suddenly, mindfulness is born. And mindfulness allows you to see the autumn leaf quite differently. Because now it is a Buddha that is looking at the autumn leaf and not just a living being. The autumn leaf is no longer the same autumn leaf. The steps, the feet are no longer the same kind of step and feet when mindfulness is lit up. In nuclear physics, they say that they speak about wave function, the wave function. When you try to understand the nature of the wave, because the photon can be described as a wave or as a particle. The electron can be described as a wave or as a particle. When you try to understand it with your mind, suddenly the situation changes. There is an intervention of the mind into the situation. And you recognize the wave as in the form of a particle. And nuclear scientists, they say that it is our mind, it is the intervention of our mind into nature that causes the collapse of the wave function. The collapse of the wave function, sự sụp đổ của hàm sóng. So the intervention of the mind change reality. In one way or in another. Mindfulness is not an attempt to describe, to grasp. Mindfulness is just the light you produce in order for things to reveal themselves. Your anger will be different when mindfulness is there. Your despair will be different when mindfulness is there. Your hope will be different when mindfulness is there. Your sorrow will be different when mindfulness is there. When mindfulness is there, is not there, your mental formations like anger, despair, hate, fear go on in the dark. But when mindfulness manifests, everything will be different. Your joy is different. Your pain will be different also. And it is always for the good, for the better. The full moon looks beautiful. But when mindfulness is born, for the beauty of the full moon can be 100 times more beautiful. The autumn leaf seems to be something very dull, not interesting. But with mindfulness, the autumn leaf becomes something very beautiful, something very interesting. The apple you buy from the supermarket, in forgetfulness, it does not seem to be something very interesting. But when you hold it in the light of mindfulness, it becomes a miracle. So does your fear, your anger, your despair. You see them differently. So the interference, you don't want to interfere, but naturally it just happens. Let us examine the light, the sunlight. The sunlight doesn't seem to want to interfere with in the flower, in the leaf. The sunlight is satisfied with being there, shining, embracing. But it produces a change, deep change within the vegetation. Because of the sunshine, the chlorophyll can be made. Thanks to the sunshine, a flower can bloom. So mindfulness is like that. Mindfulness, once manifested, it changed the whole situation. It changed your way of walking. It changed your way of eating. It changed your way of looking, of feeling. And that is why mindfulness is the heart of the Buddhist teaching, the heart of the Buddhist practice. when mindfulness is there, the Buddha is there. And if you want to keep the Buddha long enough with you, he will show you the way to sort things out. Very simply. Just sit with the Buddha long enough. And you look at your afflictions, your hope, your fear. And you know how to manage them, how to live peacefully with them, and how to bring about the joy, the compassion, the love that you do not have enough in this moment. We have the chance, we have the opportunities, we have the conditions. We have the Buddha, we have the Dharma, we have the sangha, we have the teaching, we have the practice. We are lucky people. Let us profit from these conditions. Let us show our gratitude. Let us be kind to life, to the Buddha, to the teaching. The gift is made. It is us who decide to receive or not to receive the gift. And don't do it halfway. Bring your whole heart into receiving the Dharma and into the practicing of it. Joy and happiness and love. That is not a matter of the future. It is now. And as I enjoy every step I make on the hill of Yangsun, as I see that I don't have to look for anything else. This is already it. So you can do the same. Right here, right now, today.